I met Pac. He was still part of Digital Underground, and he was just the cool young.
I met Pike. He was still essential for a computerized underground. And he was simply you realize the cool youthful. We was both the youthful scratch around the gathering 2Pac Shaker's homicide case is going from there. The sky is the limit and more individuals are emerging to air their perspectives. On a similar one such individual is Ice Block, an individual who knew the Progressions rapper very well. I recollect him being a pleasant buddy with a ton of energy. You realize he would awaken you around midnight when you were resting after police in Las Vegas executed a court order on a home regarding the passing of 2Pac. The rapper and filmmaker said it's a disgrace 2Pac's killing hasn't been tackled over 20 years afterward. I'm almost certain we haven't heard unquestionably every bit of relevant information with regards to 2Pac's demise. And what befell him that evening in Vegas, Ice Shape said Las Vegas police had held on to archives, photographs, and gadgets from a Henderson home as a component of the examination concerning the homicide of the unbelievable rapper. Back in July, the examination included 60-year-old Dwayne Keffy D. Davis, who has freely said he was in the vehicle with the shooter who killed 2Pac. Obviously, it makes a difference. Ice 3D Shape said of figuring out reality. With regards to what happened that evening, 2Pac was cherished by a large number of individuals all over the planet. And for his demise to be to some degree perplexing is only a disgrace. Davis said the vehicle pulled up next to each other with 2Pac's BMW at the convergence of Flamingo Street and Covell Path. Then somebody in the secondary lounge of the vehicle Davis was in discharged a firearm sometime before his homicide partners of 2Pac purportedly went after Orlando Anderson, a gangster. Anderson kicked the bucket in a shooting in 1998. Yet now that the case is open, Block needs whoever is answerable for denying the universe of 2Pac to be caught as a matter of fact during a past appearance with two of his kindred Mount Westmore individuals. Ice 3D Shape became extremely genuine about 2Pac's initial days as a roadie for Advanced Underground, and furthermore communicated his mistake that is basically known to the specialists, while still out wandering the roads uninhibitedly. It was a decent day rapper uncovered on individuals' party digital recording. To have Talib Kweli that he met Pac as an enthusiastic ability on the ascent who was vigorously propelled and affected by NWA, he later demonstrated that he needed to make music subsidiary of theirs. 3D Shape reflected we had a genuine cool companion. He would constantly let me know, like, you realize this computerized is cool, man. Yet I maintain that should do records like you all, since where I reside at this up you understand what I'm talking about. I need to discuss how the is he added the way that he bumped the killed rapper to grandstand his ability, which is the way get twisted together on exemplary computerized underground records like Same Tune. And I get around 3D Shape considered the over-the-edge star to be a great man with a ton of energy, and later reviewed clever minutes like Pac, showing himself how to drive in his ascent to turning into an acting sensation. I recall him before he began truly with Death Row, and got into that he would John Singleton. I didn't do fitting retribution, so John proceeded to get 2Pac to do it. Was truly cool to see John encouraging one more rapper and transforming him into a star. Expressed 3D Square, that is what he had did it with me. Did it with Pat, he did it with promoter rhymes. It was cool to see one more rapper in the game having his chance on the big screen. 2Pac believe I should give you his number. And I say 2Pac, he resembles better believe it. You comprehend me, say, thank you brother, you understand what I'm talking about. I love him for this right up to the present day. Rapper E40 likewise talked about his kinship with Pac. I call Pac, and he hit me back 40. What's up? And that was all I expected to hear. That was 1992. That is all I expected to hear was his voice, and we were secured in the two rappers over the course of the years. have in a roundabout way suggested that Diddy was the man answerable for Pac's demise. 2Pac loved Ice 3D shape, that he had his sights set on dissing Normal during Lodge Meet with Ice 3D Square during the 90s, as per a story by the late rapper's previous protege Napoleon. And that is the reason 3D Shape has consistently appreciated the late rapper during his plump-down discussion with the specialty of discourse. Napoleon said Pac loved 3D Square and needed to shield him in his problem with Normal anyway. The main issue was that Shakur generally disliked the Enrich Away veteran Park as from what we realize he admired Q. You realize Q was a he and we know why he looked into the 3D Square, I recall. When the East Coast-West Coast thing was warming up, I think Normal and 3D Square were going through their hamburger like they were dissing each other, Napoleon said. I recollect Pac was like, check whether I was cool with 3D Shape right presently. I'd be pursuing Normal for him, however, presently I'm avoiding it. He proceeded with Pac, had a ton of adoration for Block. I never heard him say anything pessimistic about him. I think at one specific time they were nearer, and perhaps they just headed out in a different direction. Yet that is the main thing I heard him say regarding 3D Square. Yet he certainly regarded 3D Square. Napoleon proceeded to say that 2Pac in like manner were essentially a similar individual, and the previous death row rapper would have in a split second lamented getting into a problem with somebody. So like himself beneficial thing, he didn't go at Normal, since they preferred something very similar on the off chance that they at any point had met each other. They would have had a ton of affection and regard for one another. Napoleon said Ice Solid Shape dissed Familiar way back in 1995 on Macintosh 10's track West Side Slaughterhouse, in light of the Chicago local melody. I used to cherish her shape. Felt Hall track was a diss against the West Coast, and that he needed to applaud back. Normal answered with the B. And you yet the two figured out how to settle on something worth agreeing on after a gathering with priest Louis Farrakhan in 1997. Ice Block and 2Pac were very comparative criminal rappers with a sharpness for representing years. It's been accounted for that Ice 3D Square turned down the fitting retribution job that 2Pac wound up tolerating, yet so far fans presently can't seem to hear the thinking from Ice 3D Shape himself. Then almost 30 years after the film hit theaters, they heard the response directly from the source, and that was John Singleton. Better believe it was my man. So how did that come about at John during a major kids local meeting in June 2021? Block made sense of that. There is one specific scene in the movie that made him reject a job in the undertaking, which likewise stars Janet Jackson. I turned down the 2Pac job in fitting retribution. Shape says fitting retribution chief John Singleton hit me up. He planned to give me pay to Singleton, who died in 2019, offered Shape the job, yet was hesitant to let the rapper entertainer read the content in the long run. Singleton surrendered, and Ice Block got to peruse the content. Solid Shape didn't cherish what he wound up perusing. He would have rather not transformed it. So I would have rather not done it. 3D Square recollects the issue was me playing 2Pac. I don't think I'd throw my homeboy out the vehicle for a young lady I just met when we got to Oakland. I didn't feel that was cool. It sort of made the trademarked to me the scene. Solid Shape seems, by all accounts, to be alluding to is one that saw 2Pac's personality, a mail transporter, a hopeful rapper named Fortunate, assault his companion Chicago for hitting Janet Jackson's personality. Equity had kicked Chicago in the crotch since he had hit his heartfelt premium Aisha, played by Regina Lord, in the face. After Fortunate thumbs up Chicago, he Equity and Aisha leave the scene, and Chicago is passed on to bring the transport back home. Somewhere else in the meeting, Solid Shape said he had been in to discuss assuming the part of O-Dog in Hazard Die Society. Since he would have rather not been pigeonholed, he played a firearm hauling road fellow in Young Men and The Hood year earlier. He says he ruled against taking on the job. However, it's muddled whether he was at any point authoritatively offered it. In any case, the veteran rapper proceeds to say that he, 2Pac, and Lawrence Tate, the last option of whom assumed the part of O-Dog and Threat, worked effectively in their individual jobs. And he's content with how things ended up, so obviously, these two had truly a relationship. And it would just be fair that Block, once Pac's rappers, captured, charged, and indicted Keith D. genuine name, Keith Davis, the one who was as of late captured for his supposed inclusion in the deadly shooting of 2Pac. Once said Diddy offered him $1 million to late rapper and his then supervisor Suge Knight. On July 2, 2018, Davis admitted to playing a part in the killing of 2Pac subsequent to uncovering he was passing on from malignant growth, and proceeded to say he was the traveler in the white Cadillac. The evening of the episode, he would not name different suspects in the vehicle, yet affirmed that the shooter was Orlando Anderson, his nephew, and that it was out of reprisal for getting bounced at the MGM Fabulous prior, and the supposed $1 million abundance by Puff Daddy Davis fostered a kinship with seen Diddy brushes, which added to the hypothesis connecting Diddy to 2Pac's homicide. This hypothesis arose regarding the claims made by previous LAPD criminal